A 2-year-old murder mystery.
They did this quickly and very carefully.
Finally, a big break in the case.
We promised arrests would be made. Today is that day.
Fox 19 Now was the only station on the scene.
Tell me about what you saw.
A caravan of SWAT teams.
On air, on Facebook, on all your devices. You had breaking details.
This entire story is just amazing.
Following developments every step of the way. Fox 19 Now. Always local, always now.
Breaking now and first on Fox 19 Now, we are here at the Wagner farm where earlier this afternoon police have arrested 4 people in connection with the Roden family murders that happened here in Pike County. 8 people brutally murdered April 26, 2016 and taken into custody this afternoon. George Billy Wagner III, he's 47. Angela Wagner, 48, George Wagner, also Edward Jake Wagner, 26. All 4 have been charged in connection with the Roden family murders. In fact, if you look right here on this telephone pole right across the street from the Wagners, Flying W Farms, here's the sign for the Roden family homicides. Do you know who murdered us? April 22nd, 2016. Here are all 8 of the victims. And now it appears there may be a break in the case. Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine, Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder, and the Pike County Prosecutor Rob Junk announcing just a short while ago that 4 people have been taken into custody. We'll have much more later today here on Fox 19 Now. For now, I'm Stefano DiPietrantonio, Fox 19 Now. Well, Rob, I got to tell you this. If you listen to the video, I've posted the entire thing on my Twitter account, @StefDFox19 Now. You can hear, you don't see it immediately because we're about 1 car behind it, but you can hear the armored SWAT vehicle just barrel through that cast iron gate. By the way, someone had just come down the hill and put a chain around the gate and padlocked it only seconds before. And here we are interviewing a neighbor who's telling us that he wasn't shocked by any of this. He knew Billy Wagner. He said he was surprised it took this long, but he wasn't surprised that the arrest of the 4 came down. And as we all turned around to our right, a sheriff's van flew past us and asked us to step out of the way gently. Next thing you know, a caravan of SWAT teams are barreling through that gate. As you heard Sheriff Charlie Reeder say just a few minutes ago, he goes, "We didn't have a key," adding a little humor to the situation. But they only took 1 person away, and that was the grandmother, Frederica Wagner, Rob.
And to go from one residence to another residence, to another residence, and then to another residence 8 miles away, leaving in your wake 8 people of the same family dead, leaving 3 children alive. That seems excessive to me in terms of a custody battle. Doesn't it seem that way to you?
It did. In fact, you have families out here, and there's some hard living out here in Pike County. There's some folks who are really living close to the vest. They're struggling just to get by day to day. That may be why, what the neighbor was telling us, Jay Kopus, that maybe that's why Billy Wagner was finding parts and selling things to try to make a buck here and there. Some pretty hard living in some of these parts out here, folks struggling, and sometimes when all you have to hold on to is your family, that could be at the source of it. It still seems pretty extreme, and I think, Rob, there is so much more we're going to hear by the time this goes to trial.
That perspective is good. Stefano, thank you very much. Stefano has been on scene since about 5 o'clock this morning. A brutal pit bull attack in Taylor Mill sends a couple to the hospital and leaves their home looking eerily like the Manson murders had been committed there. Investigative reporter Stefano DiPietrantonio is here with the images. We should warn you, they are graphic and disturbing.
This all happened just before midnight last night on St. Matthew's Circle. A call came in about a dog bite, but when police got inside the home, it looked like nothing short of a massacre.
Where you at? Where you at?
Taylor Mill police rolling up on the backyard of a home in St. Matthew's Circle, where the family's pit bull was actively attacking a man you can hear moaning.
Oh my God.
And on the ground.
Shirley, please.
The officer yells at the dog.
Get back.
The dog lets go of the man and charges him.
Get back! Get back!
The dog is down, but it's not over.
One more shot. He's still breathing. Put him out of his misery.
There is blood all over the yard.
Taylor Mill 4 dispatch, have our squad get here immediately. Severe lacerations from head to toe. Have them get here ASAP. He is bleeding out everywhere.
Now at this point, police have not even seen inside the home yet.
Go check inside.
But once inside, there is blood on the floors, the kitchen cabinets, up and down the walls. A family member, Noah, tells us the dog's name was Rocky. At 4 years old, he says the dog has never acted aggressively in the past and has no idea what set the dog off. Noah heard the dog attacking his mom, Angela Tucker, in the living room, so he threw a glass of water on the dog. The dog then turned on Noah's stepdad, Jeff Studer. This bloody trail leading outside to where police found him crying for help.
Ambulance is coming, buddy.
Dog, he's been so good forever. And thank you for killing him.
Back here! Taylor Mill 4 dispatch, if you haven't already done so, start another squad. We're going to need more than one.
Oh my God.
Now, animal control came and took Rocky away. Noah says both his parents are undergoing surgery at UCMC. His mom has a massive bite wound to the arm and leg. Noah says he could see the bone in his mom's arm. His stepdad, an injury to his arm and leg. Taylor Mill police are still investigating. Stefano DiPietro-Antonio, Fox 19 Now. An officer doesn't get out of his car after a shooting. We have the investigation into what happened only on Fox 19 Now.
Too dangerous to get out of the car?
Cincinnati police investigating one of their own tonight after an internal review shows the officer left the scene of a shooting without getting out of his cruiser and surveying the scene.
This was after multiple 911 calls reporting shots fired, and later there was even a body discovered.
Yeah, investigative reporter Stefano DiPietro-Antonio is live at District 1 Police Headquarters with the story you will see only on Fox 19 Now.
Hey there, Rob and Tricia. Well, according to this internal memo here from Cincinnati Police Chief Elliot Isaac, it reads, it's apparent that his actions did not come close to meeting the standards and violated the department's policies and procedures. Now, this is all after the officer, according to this internal review right here, drove through a crime scene in Cumminsville, but never got out of his car to investigate. This memo to Chief Elliot Isaac August 3rd shows Officer Robert Johnson failed to properly investigate shots fired into a house, saying it was, quote, too dangerous, and he, quote, didn't feel safe. A homicide victim found hours later.
Oh, man, it was devastating. It was devastating. That was, a best friend of mine,
The victim, 50-year-old Ralph Whitehead, Harold Edwards' best friend for 45 years.
I love him. I miss him. My man.
There's some shooting going on. It's around 2:54 in the morning.
Multiple 911 calls for shots fired.
They up here shooting. There's a shootout up here. I need to get the up here now.
So far, one anonymous caller reporting 50 shots heard, nothing seen.
People in this Millvale Court neighborhood called us asking for answers after they say police never responded to their 911 calls and reports of multiple shots fired, the bullet holes riddling the side of this home.
They're out there arguing the fight now. There's gunshots again.
One caller told dispatchers bullets fired into their house narrowly missed their 7 kids inside. Then, hours later, a boy finds the body behind this home.
I think there's a dead body in my backyard.
Whitehead was shot at least once in the torso. Fox 19 Now has learned, through multiple public records requests, the first officer who responded, quote, failed to properly investigate when he arrived on the scene at 3:04 in the morning, police memos show.
They usually go run around the building or anything. They should have investigated a little bit more, walked through.
Captain Paul Brocksterman wrote in an August 6th memo to Police Chief Isaac, Officer Robert Johnson disregarded his backup officer and left, even though the city's 911 center advised him a male resident on Millvale Court called and reported shots fired into his house. So why would somebody want to shoot your friend?
I think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time because he don't do anything that nobody deserved that.
Johnson later acknowledged during a police administrative review, he privately told a co-worker he didn't want to get out of his cruiser because it was, quote, too dangerous, police records show. Brocksterman wrote in bold letters, this is unacceptable.
He could have walked around the building, make sure nobody was back there, or,
In a memo, Officer Johnson would later say he was aware a resident at that address reported his home had been fired upon, but says he forgot to go there to check on the man. Johnson wrote, "I in no way meant or expressed fear of exiting my police car to conduct an investigation if needed. I've been involved in many shots fired and other dangerous runs throughout my career and have never failed to safely and thoroughly investigate an incident." Police arrested 19-year-old Austin Duncan and charged him with murder. But for Edwards, there are still too many unanswered questions about his best friend's murder.
In the long run, everything's going to come out.
Now, we did request Johnson's personnel file to see if he might have been reprimanded for this incident last month, but we have not received that yet. And Cincinnati police have not responded to repeated verbal and written requests here to speak about the situation. But we are told that the incident is still being reviewed here internally by CPD. Live here at police headquarters, Stefano DiPietro-Antonio, Fox 19 Now.
That's a great story, Steph. Thanks.
This is Fox 19 Now.
Could whoever stole dozens of gold rings from a group of Northern Kentucky nuns be asking for a one-way ticket to you know where? Good evening to you. I'm Tricia Mackey.
And I'm Rob Williams. Investigative reporter Stefano DiPietro-Antonio talked with the Benedictine sisters who are still reeling from this incredible loss.
Rob, Tricia, you can read it right there on the St. Walburg website. It says, in the history of the monastery, they've never had to make an announcement like this, that during funeral preps for a fellow sister, someone stole not only a big chunk of cash from them, but something so much more valuable, it would take a real miracle from God to replace.
But it just seems so low to take the rings. It's like, wow, why would you do that?
150 years of history stolen just like that. And up until last Saturday morning, this was full?
Yes, yes. It has 113 spaces, we figured out. And then some other rings were laying in here.
Sister Nancy Cordenbrock tells me 125 rings disappeared, all 14-karat gold with black onyx inlays. The Benedictine sisters get them at the final profession of their vows.
Sister Mary Jo, Sister Austin.
The names of each sister the rings belong to, their only physical connection to them once they've passed.
During the funeral and vigil service, the ring is placed on top of the casket with her vow paper.
After the service, the ring returns to the box for the next sister to cherish for the rest of her life. Then, last Monday, though, the sisters were busy with a vigil for Sister Cecilia Daigle. Another sister, Krista, went to get change from their cash box.
And that's when she noticed that the cash box had been jimmied.
$1,800 gone. And right before the vigil, they noticed
a key had been missing to the bookkeeper's office.
It too had been broken into.
Sister Krista came up to me and said, "It's worse."
And when she looked for the ring box,
she pulled it out and realized all the rings were taken.
Did your heart just sink at that point?
It sunk, and we called the police then.
A huge set of keys also disappeared.
So these were the keys to all the outside doors.
It cost them a bundle.
It's expensive.
To have a locksmith replace the locks and keys on 16 doors. It seemed so specific what was taken and how. Police are questioning the 30 employees who work there.
You know, when I think about it, it seems like it couldn't be anything but an inside job.
Sister Eileen Bankkemper says 36 sisters live here. The rings have been part of their lives and this monastery since 1859.
And don't make me cry, okay?
I won't. She says they'll save their tears for much bigger problems in the world.
In terms of sentimental, historical, you know, a personal touch with each sister, there's nothing that can replace it, really.
Now, to say the sisters would be eternally grateful to get the rings back is no understatement. They are praying for their safe return. And get this, an anonymous donor has $5,000 at stake to whoever can make that happen. If you think you know what happened to the rings or who might have them now, call the Villa Hills Police or the Kenton County Sheriff's Office. Stefano DiPietro-Antonio, Fox 19 Now.